We're at the top of the week, August 10th, 11th, Sunday, Monday, to do the energy forecasting to help get you dialed in. And as we get into the forecasting, I want to share with you some continued changes that I'm going to be rolling out for the next couple of weeks just to keep you updated. The first real philosophical focal point change that I'm making is that I am treating all of my topics that you've seen me working with over the last 6-9 months, the topics that I've been developing. Well, now we're turning them into actual showcases on my website. I've got a video going on here where you can begin to see changes on the homepage, and each showcase has its own place. The energy forecasting has its own slot. The somatic money oracle deck reads with a lot of financial information I'm going to be talking about there. It's got its own slot. Of course, art is life, life is art. As we develop that out, it's got its own webpage. And then at the end of the week, the psychic notes is definitely there as well. And so over the weeks, you're going to see me develop this out further, me take even more steps with this whole idea of proprietary, spiritual, digital information, getting that out to you guys. And so you're going to continue to get here the free information that I always provide for you. And then I'm going to have breakout, standalone, proprietary information along with add-on subscriptions. And the only real structural change of information that is going to be happening is here on the energy forecasting. And that is so hard for me to step across that line with you guys. But I really am at break point here of I can't continue to work for free on a weekend and provide really fantastic information without any really proper, stable support at this point. So we're going to be changing up the energy forecasting, but I'm going to make sure you still get some really great proprietary front-end free information on that energy forecast to set you up for the week. And then the deeper dive, the detailed dive, the charting, that is going to go into a subscription for you. Now, I know not everybody can do that or wants to do that, but those of you who still want to continue to interact, provide support, have that valuable information that so many of you say, Dana, oh my God, you're giving me sanity through all of these months. I want to continue to do that, and we are going to continue to do that more in a subscription model. Now, as far as the subscriptions are concerned, I am not going to go to a full monthly subscription for about a week or two because I'm working with some of the technology. One of the things I'm learning is that most digital information memberships are stacked, but I don't do my information that way. I do my information a la carte. And so I am working on setting up a technical situation, where you still have the full menu of pay options through Shopify, where we have a stable place to look at video that is off of social media, that still has commenting and has the choice selection of both, a standalone weekly pay for those who want to take a nibble or have a smaller budget, then also the monthly subscription that I hope to roll out in the next week or so, and then a full-on bundle packaging for some people who are like, Dana, I just want to do one stop and pay one fee and be done with it and have all of your wonderful information. So that's the direction that we're headed. And on the back end of this announcement, I just want to say, guys, this is a dream come true. I am a journalist and writer at heart, and then I get to pair that with videography and compiling spiritual, metaphysical information all in one spot and do it at a leading edge, cutting edge, breakout kind of level, and do it in a way that shows us here in the spiritual community that we don't have to be in the straitjacket of, I just get on camera and do psychic readings and they're free and that's it. No, I am showing all of this. So if you're a fellow, holistic or practitioner or psychic or intuitive or tarot, I want you watching me. I want you getting ideas. I want you getting ideas as far as what I'm doing with my business structure, because I think we can do so much more in the spiritual community with our offerings that really showcase our wonderful, unique capabilities. And so if you're watching this and getting ideas as far as what I'm doing, fantastic. I love it, because we need to learn how to showcase our abilities and our information outside of that psychic straitjacket that we've all been required to work in for so long. It's time to change that, and that's what I'm doing here. I hope you stay with me on the ride. I hope you come along for the ride, because I have a feeling once I get this set up, you are going to see me blossom and you're going to see me collaborate at whole other levels I've never been able to do before. I believe in the chaos we see going on and the endings we see going on. Remember, in the astrology, there's new beginnings. This is my new beginning at a whole other level, and I'm super excited you're here. I'm super excited that you're participating in whatever way, shape, form that you can. That's fantastic. And we're going to see where this ride takes us, because as far as I'm concerned, it really truly is time to anchor in that 5D, be practicing, be doing it, because we can't wait around for somebody to give us permission. There is no outer world signal. The signal is inside of us going, now. It is right now. So let's go ahead and get started. So like I said before, for today, this is the free portion of the energy forecasting. If you want the deep dive singular week subscription to this information, charting, video, interpretation, all of that, go to my link tree, click through purchase. You'll be provided with a PDF with a link that will take you either to Dropbox or Vimeo. And in that PDF, you're going to get last week's chart, this week's chart, and next week's chart, okay? Now, first out of the gate, Spirit Team wants me talking about Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, I know that is a dive back into the 3D, but Spirit Team is promising that the Ghislaine Maxwell, connect up, or I don't know, matrix symbolism is really pertinent right here. And they've been showing it to me they've been casting it to me in the light of Luigi Mangione. And if you recall, those of you who picked up on, a couple months past, my Intuitive State of the Nation, where Spirit Team had me pull out and really take a look at Luigi Mangione again, and they were showing me the setup of how Luigi Mangione is loved culturally in all areas, both liberal and conservatives. Like, everybody is on board with him because of what we're going through as an American public with all the one percenters and billionaire class, right? So Spirit Team has been showing me this interface of Luigi and Ghislaine, and they're showing it to me as a pattern. And the pattern is this. The pattern is, it only takes one person in a pivotal key place to create the domino effect where the change begins to happen. And right now, that is not Luigi Mangione, but it's the same setup. Ghislaine Maxwell has the power, depending on what happens with her, with the collective, as the domino effect beginning to fall. And on top of that, remember that question I asked about, they moved her from New York to Florida and then Florida to Texas. And I was like, what's that all about? And I had some lovely people drop down into my comments and say, hey, basically, the Texas prison that she's in is kind of like a Club Med, which tells us that she wheeled and dealed. She provided some things for them, most likely the DOJ and potentially the president, where she got to bargain a little bit and get more of what she wanted, right? Well, what I can hear from Spirit Team right now that I've set that all up, now they're actually telling me something. Now that I've set that all up, Spirit Team is basically saying there is more of that to come. She still has more bargaining power. She's got some aces in the pocket, evidently. And Spirit Team is basically saying those are going to come out over the next couple of weeks, especially during the heat of the stackable astrology that we're headed into. And I'm going to get into the details of the astrology when I do the extended forecast in my subscription. And basically that is those of you who have been following along, you've seen the astrology just gradually kind of begin to stack up. Well, there's about 2 more stackable events that literally are it's kind of like wheels coming off the bus kind of stuff. And so what we need to be prepared for is just more quagmire happening, more confusion, more chaos. And, some people in the comments have been saying, I'm just so confused with everything going on. And I couldn't agree more. I look at the 3D world sometimes and I'm just oh my God, there is so much confusing information and energies, and it's hard to know which end is up, and you just kind of end up walking away from it, right? And that's where we've arrived with the 5D thing. That's the information that's been coming in from Spirit Team. It's been like, disengage, unattach, have an idea of a little bit of what's going on out there. You do kind of sort of want to be a little bit aware, but you do not want to be plugged in with this thing. And there's more of that going on, and especially as we move into the month of August, it's going to intensify, and there's some breaking points that begin to happen there. So heads up with all of that. That is just a little bit of an overview on the psychic notes that I'm beginning to bring in a little bit more on the energy forecasting, as well as some overall themes with the astrology that we've got coming up in the near future. Now, I'm getting the heads up from Spirit Team to do the overall general theme for your playbook for this week. And that basically is, let me read that out for you. That basically is, quote unquote, play. So the word play, P-L-A-Y, in quotation marks, play, because mistakes are powerful learning curves of transformation. And so basically that's Spirit World saying, I think mistakes are pretty inevitable in the landscape that we're living in and continue to live in. Mistakes are inevitable. And Spirit World is asking us, please do not treat them as like, dun, 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 mistakes. They're saying, no, lighten it up. Lighten it up. If there is an accident that happens, and hopefully nobody gets hurt in it, if there's an accident that happens, or if there's a mistake that's made, or there's kerfluffles or whatever, Spirit World is saying, please, please, do not look at them through the lens of the judgment of mistake. Remove that lens and go, okay, we're grateful we're okay. We're grateful we're here. We're grateful that things are working out as well as they are. And what can we learn from this? And not only what can we learn from this, but how can we shift and adjust this quote unquote mistake and reconfigure it into something else? I'm seeing that happen in my own life. There's stuff going on with me and the cats right now. We've got some change up going on. And I got to tell you guys, sometimes I'm so proud of myself because I don't go for the trigger reaction anger thing anymore. I don't go for the upset note anymore. Like something happens and I go, look at that. Okay, well, that got broken. Well, do I really need it anyway? And is that a message from the universe? And maybe some things need to be shifted here. And I can hear the cats kind of go like, are you mad at us? Are you mad at us? Like, no, I'm not mad at you. Like, things are changing. It's okay. We're going to roll with the punches here. Like, that's what we need to be doing. Especially, Spirit Team is saying, like, especially the next 10 days. There's going to be some very serious things going on. And yet, I don't think we can take ourselves too seriously if we're going to get through this. So I think that's another part of the play message is like very serious landscape, very serious things going on, and yet lighten it up. Like we can't take ourselves too seriously in all of this. It's just like that kind of is the nature of things. Then the next thing Spirit Team wants me to come back to is another energy read on that whole 3D, 5D difference. They want me to tell you a little bit about an experience that I had here. So right now, the community that I live in is having what's called here the Hop Festival. And a hop, H-O-P, a hop, is the product that makes beer. Like I live in beer making country. As a matter of fact, these fields in a lot of Washington state, we provide the hops not only for a good portion of the nation, like most of the hops come out of this state, not only for the nation, but also internationally. And right now, locally, there's a great big old hop festival going on. It's kind of fun, and I go participate a little bit. But at this point, I really try and do it on the fringes and on the off times. And so yesterday morning, when there was this great big huge parade going on, it was huge for a small town. I like the part of it that I just love so much is the literally the Latinx cowboys, this whole parade of Latin American men in their sombreros, and they're parading down the street on their horses. Is like, I grew up around cowboys. I grew up around the Greeley Independence Stampede and that parade and the Cheyenne, Wyoming, the granddaddy of them all, that rodeo. Like I grew up in cowboy country. And I got to tell you, it was something else to see Latinx men on horses in their great big beautiful hats and regalia. It's like, it's something I've never seen before. And it kind of stopped my heart a little bit. And so, that was pretty cool. But I got to the park ahead of the crowd and I started walking around the park. And I also should put in a note here about driving over. So, we have been in a level 1 historic track changing timeline jump right now. And all of the days that I've gotten out to drive around in this, I literally feel myself like this. Like I will be driving down the road and I literally feel everything go like this, or like the car could flip over. And that kind of happened yesterday too when I was just going over to this festival in town, right? And so I literally could tell like I'm in 5D. Like I knew I was in 5D headed over to the park. And so catching some cursory things of the parade and getting to the park early and beginning to walk around the park, I had this distinct sensation of like, oh my God, I really am walking around in a 3D matrix, because like they've got all their tents set up and everything. And like once I canvassed the area, there was this feeling of like, oh my God, the majority of the vending, the majority of the item vending and the food vending was defaulting into 2 areas of plastic and sugar. It was like the majority of that event that was riding on plastic and sugar was crazy. There were only a few vendors where I walked into their booths where they were calm. You could feel the energy was calm. It was a higher vibration, and the quality of the product they had was like at a whole other level. There were only like 2, maybe 3 of those that I could actually go into the booth and engage. The rest of them, it was like, ooh, walk by, because it was a lot of 3D matrix and a lot of plasticky kind of stuff. So that all happened, and there weren't too many people around. And then the parade finished, and there was just this wave of people that showed up to the park, and they're literally coming in, and I'm walking through them to get out, and I could feel how much I was in my bubble, and it was like they were in a different world. They were in a completely different world, and I was in a completely different world. And again, all of this, no judgment. These are just the dynamics that are happening on the planet right now. No judgment, but it was a very visceral sensation of like, wow, we're in 2 different worlds, and the majority of it is the 3D matrix. And I went as far as I could, and I really don't belong here. And it was like, it was time to get out. Spirit team had been giving me a warning anyway. They're like, you need to get out of here. It's time to go. It's time to go. But I wanted to experience it just to see where are we at with 3D, 5D, and that whole bubbly thing and window thing and choice thing that we've got going on right now. And right now, the energies, the distinction is so visceral and continues to be very visceral. All right, so as I close out this free portion of the energy forecasting, just tuning into Spirit Team to see if there's any more messages they want to get through to everybody out there. And that is, I can hear some of them saying, watch your steps, watch your feet, or like really know where you're planting your feet. They're like knowing where your feet are on the ground this week, and how you're centering and grounding yourself, even as things change and move, even as we hit potential bumps, even as there's quote unquote mistakes happening. They're like knowing where your feet are and knowing where your feet are landing this week. That is going to, for some reason, it's so simple, so elemental, and yet it's this really powerful piece of the equation of keeping you on path, upright in your space, even as we have a changing landscape going on around us. And there's a lot of like, heads up, this is a really great week for, situational awareness. And I'm going to leave you that last note before I head into the deep dive into the subscription area. The last note I will leave with you is, watch how you're framing things. Go light. Serious things are going on, but we don't have to take ourselves seriously. We can transform things within the moment. We have that power now. Use it. Use that 5D power of transforming the framework of situations in any way, shape, form possible that is going to be helpful for you and those around you. We have that power now. So those of you who are ready to take the leap with me into subscription land, I'm headed over to record the deeper, more focused, detailed version of this energy forecasting with the charting and astrology and timeline jumps and more talking with spirit team and more focus on review of last week, where we're at this week, and a chart into next week. So I will see you there. It's Linktree or my website, www.somaticmoney.com. On the forecasting page, you'll find it there. That's what I've got for you for now. Make sure you keep walking forward and meet those miracles along the way. And I will see you in my next video.